Let me begin by saying what a pleasure it is to be here with you today. Arigato. Arigato. I want to thank the president of the university, President Fuji. It is because of him that I'm here today. Thank you for inviting me. I was humbled when you asked me, and even more humbled as I stand here now, listening before the students, and of course listening to the dean and all the amazing things that he's saying. Thanks to all who made my visit possible. And also, of course, it's always good when you go somewhere and you know somebody. It makes it just a little bit better. And so a very good friend of mine, one of your vice presidents, executive vice president, Naoko Ishii-san, is a long time and dear friend of mine. So it's an honor for me to be able to come and see her recognized in this fashion. Let me start by thanking all the faculty and family and loved ones that you have here with you today. The University of Tokyo was founded on this day in 1887 as the first imperial university. It is an important piece of history, but it also means you have a huge responsibility. And the president talked about some of the responsibility around greening the planet that the university is taking under its wing. It should fill you with pride to be in these walls, where the greatest of Japanese academic, scientific, and cultural life have walked. And yes, Dean, I think people think you're also one of the greatest. I went to one such old university, the University of Michigan, which was founded in 1817. And each time I go back or see a memory, I feel a sense of pride, of belonging to a history and a tradition of excellence. You have all taken different and sometimes very challenging journeys to get here. But for many, today is the realization of the dream and the beginning of a huge new one. Excellence is what you're here to achieve, to nurture, and to harvest. In our turbulent times, academic excellence is not enough. We need to be able to navigate the changing tensions of the world outside as we define ours, embrace new concepts, and use old histories, imperial histories in your case, to solve new problems. But most of all, you have to be people of conviction. Only with conviction can you move the world forward in a positive way. We have shifting global geopolitical tensions. We are going back to a time where conflict seems to be the way we resolve differences and not dialogue. After over 2 years of dealing with COVID and having to fight for basic human necessities, such as access to food, to health, social interaction has changed, and the world we know it is slightly different. There is maybe a greater sense of individual vulnerability. The result is more autodetermination, more I can do it myself. I'm sure just us can do it alone. Less collaboration rather than globalization. We're talking of friendshoring, nearshoring, but this is certainly not the way to go in the world today. I believe it's to a large extent the exposure of our vulnerabilities and the truth that is driving us back to a society of anxiety, self-preservation, and fear that is making us close in. But we cannot build a stronger, better, and more sustainable world by closing in. Our societies are no longer seeing collective action as an important point, but collective action is what's going to save us from our global planet. And the President talked about climate change and its importance. The Arctic is melting, the polar bears are threatened, the Sahara Desert is expanding. People and ecosystems on which we all depend are under threat, foreshadowing dire consequences for people and planet. To address this, we must adopt a stance of collective thoughts, of shared knowledge, of shared solutions, of global thinking, of co-creation. And that's what universities do. We have to come together to protect our global commons. This is where you stand at the precipice of the future and history. The fundamental contradiction of our time is that we're struggling to be more individualistic when the world is asking us to work together to solve the big solutions and problems that we need. We have never needed each other more. We must work together, and we must work harder to use our differences to solve these problems. We all strive for a peaceful, inclusive, and prosperous society. But the COVID-19 pandemic and the ensuing war in Ukraine have led to 3 years of economic contraction in many parts of the world. Lately, this has been compounded by inflationary pressures. As we all know, inflation is the fastest creator of poverty and economic stagnation. Dealing with these challenges will also require your help and your knowledge. To restore growth, we will need research and innovation, from battery technology to pharmaceuticals, to data privacy, to artificial intelligence, we heard from the deans. Innovation and productivity, of course, coupled with the appropriate business environment, will deliver growth. As you enter the graduate class, your class has to ask the ethical questions around innovation. From nuclear technology, where we all know that it may be cheaper, more accessible energy, to artificial intelligence, and I'm sure many of you are using ChatGPT and Chat AI and Chat 4, and this is the way to go. But we have to ask ourselves, what does that mean for our society? What does this new technology do to determine us? And this is what you will have to give us answers for. Society would look to you for help in answering those questions. And I hope you can each debate them with your colleagues. Use the spaces made available here at the university to work in multidisciplinary ways to answer these questions, because we do not yet have the answers. All of humanity needs the answers. You sit in a unique place. In Japan, you are the member of the G7. You're among the 7 most powerful countries in the world. The world is looking to you to be part of a solution to global challenges. For many developing world economies, it means redressing some of the inequities from old systems of the past, from issues of global multilateralism to issues of gender equity. In many of our societies, women are still not fully represented and not given the recognition they deserve. That is why I feel personally indebted again to the President for being here, because I'm standing here as representing diversity, but also gender and women. As women, and particularly as women in academics, it is a tough road ahead. I think that we can all agree. It is not as easy. But we must value women's work. I was surprised this year to find out that it was the first time an Asian woman won an Oscar. So the difficulties are not just in academics, it's not just in publishing papers, it's not just in doing research. As a woman economist, it is very difficult, but it appears to be difficult all over. But you, again, must lead that charge. As young women in graduate school, it is also your job and your role to be able to mentor and make sure that as you go forward, you can pull those who are behind you. I think the dean talked about a tradition that the university has about mentoring. That is a tradition that you must honor and keep, because we only grow because we have mentors in society. Data shows that when we value women, we do much better. Society does much better. There is abundant research that shows that universities are better, businesses are better, and society overall is much better if you value women. Whatever you study, whatever your ambition is, you should drive for excellence. Because whatever you do, you have to make sure that you produce a ripple, that once it touches an ocean, will go shores afield. As the dean said, you may not know what you came in to do, but if you know that you came in to do good, if you know and are convinced that you came in to make sure that when you leave, you will want to leave the world in a better place. Then you will find your way. Your journey as academics begins today, but also your journey as leaders. Look to leave the world more humble. The beauty of your time is there are no more certainties. It is time for upsets, for persistence and hard work. Who would have guessed that under Shiho Otani's leadership, Japan would have beat the US in baseball? There are no more certainties. Many things are changing and many things are becoming possible. The beauty of academic excellence is that it teaches you rigor. Rigor that you can use much later in life to do a lot more. It disciplines you. When I first went to university, I enrolled in film. I wanted to be a film director. So I didn't really know where I was going. But much later, my dad said to me, that's not what you need to do. You need to do something more solid. You need to do something that will deliver later for you, after he saw my transcript. So I went into political science and economics. When I was done with political science and economics, I thought, oh, I'm going to go to Brazil and study the history of the black people, the black slaves that had moved to Baha'i. But one of my math teachers said to me, no, Vera, go and do a PhD. Go and enroll in the faculty, and I will be your PhD director. But before you do that, you have to do mathematics. I thought, oh my God. I did the math. I can tell you at the time it was not fun. But today, I am very, very grateful for that good advice, because it has determined my path every day. Everything I have done has been with the discipline of the math that I learned at that time. Persistence and preparation served me well then, and they're serving me well today. Unlike in the past, many of you will change careers many times. You will not have the same career all the time. You will work in many different places. But the one thing you can take with you is the persistence, the knowledge, and the rigor of academic excellence. And that is what you're here to begin to learn as graduate students. Master something, master it fully. That will always set you apart. Keep learning, because it will help you to grow. The important thing, dear students, as you are about to write your history, is make sure you also have fun. Have no regrets. Build a strong network of friends, support systems who can help you to make sure that you have a chain that helps change the world. Reach out, support those behind you, support those in front of you. Academics, like life, is a relay game. It's a chain. We must continue supporting each other as we go forward, in the strive for excellence, but in the strive to build a stronger, more inclusive, and more diverse society. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you an excellent start of the year and an outstanding and successful journey during your time at UTokyo. Thank you once again, Mr. President, for inviting me and for your unparalleled hospitality. Thank you.